Good morning. So I'm a few minutes late. We're getting ready to head down to Louisiana. And a few things I had to do. Look, as we head into Labor Day weekend, we have more evidence of progress of our economy from last year's economic calamity. Today we learned the economy created 235,000 new jobs in August. And the unemployment rate fell to 5.2%, the lowest it has been in 18 months. But despite the impact of the Delta variant, and I'll talk a little more about that in a minute, what we're seeing is an economic recovery that's durable and strong. The Biden plan is working. We're getting results. America is on the move again. Today's revision of previous month job gains with revision of July numbers. This report means that we have been adding an average of 750,000 jobs per month on average during the past 3 months. And in the 3 months before I became president, well, we're adding 60,000 jobs. Total job creation in the first 7 months of my administration is nearly double any prior first-year president. While I know some wanted to see a larger number today, and so did I, what we've seen this year is a continued growth, month after month, in job creation. It's not just that I've added more jobs than any first-year president, in the first year of any president. It's that we've added jobs in every single one of my first 7 job reports, and wages are going up. Some more jobs, some months they're fewer, some months more, but always adding jobs. This is the kind of growth that makes our economy stronger and consistent progress and not boom or bust. Our economy grew the first half of this year at the fastest rate in about 40 years. We're the only developed country in the world. I'll say that again, we're the only developed country in the world whose economy is now bigger than it was before the pandemic. Because of the groundwork we laid with the American Rescue Plan, our vaccination strategy, we're seeing an economy and a job market that can weather the ups and downs of the Delta variant and anything else that comes our way. Now, we have a lot more work to do, as I will discuss shortly, but the facts speak for themselves. Think of where this country stood on the day I was sworn in as president and compare it to where we are today. The number of people filing new claims for unemployment each week is down 57%. Down 57%. Child poverty is down nearly 50%. We're no longer seeing long lines of people waiting for boxes of food to be put in their trunk after waiting for hours, or sometimes up to 2 hours. The unemployment rate is down from 6.3% to 5.2%, and I believe it's going to continue to go down. And it's no wonder that last week's Gallup poll found that 72% of Americans think that now is a good time to find a quality job. At this time last year, that number was 30%. And that's the mark of an economy where regular people can see a place for themselves in the economy. You know, the holidays we celebrate this weekend, the holiday Labor Day, is about honoring the dignity of work, honoring the American worker. And that's what our economic strategy
is. We're going to find out what we need to find out one way or another.
Bottom up and the middle out. Providing some extra breathing room for families. My dad just said just a little breathing room. Creating an environment where employers have the tools to compete for workers by providing higher wages.
I did speak, you just ain't heard me.
That's what's happening. Wages are up, especially for working class Americans. Even so, look at the progress we've made. We're not where we need to be in our economic recovery. There are 2 critical tasks ahead this month to get us closer to our goal and to take the next steps in our recovery. The first,
boo, y'all should have booed him when he said that. Look at the progress we made. What progress, motherfucker? Y'all gave us 1,200 last year, and then y'all gave us 2,000 this year.
Secured enough vaccine for every single American, and gotten 175 million Americans fully vaccinated. Still too many.
Yeah, but do you want everybody vaccinated or everybody back employed?
Using our economy and on our kitchen tables. Today's report shows that the steps we've taken, passing the rescue plan, vaccinating 175 million people.
It's fucked
Make
up.
our economy capable of growing and adding jobs.
No, the fuck they not.
Strengthen our economy very different from the way things were last winter. There's no question the Delta variant is why today's job report isn't strong. I know people are looking and I was looking for a higher number. Next week, I'll lay out the next steps that are going to need to combat the Delta variant, to address some of those fears and concerns. I want to talk about how we'll further protect our schools, our businesses, our economy, and our families from the threat of Delta. As we continue to fight the Delta variant, the American Rescue Plan continues to support families, businesses, and communities. Even as some of the benefits that were provided are set to expire next week, states have the option to extend those benefits and the federal resources from the rescue plan to do so. That not more federal taxes or state taxes, but they have the federal money to be able to do that. States continue to have access to a wide array of support, like help for schools that are reopening, help for child care centers, to make them available, affordable, and other resources to help our economy get back to normal. The measures we've taken so far have brought America out of an economic freefall, steadied us, and enabled us to grow our economy even as we continue to combat COVID. We are adding jobs, not losing them. The fight against COVID today is far different from the fight we were waging last winter. The second thing that has to happen in September is for the Congress, the House and Senate, to finish the job of passing my economic agenda so that we can keep up the historic momentum we've been building these last 7 months. It's about investing in America's future, not about short-term stimulus. That's not what we're talking about. These are long-term prosperity we're talking about lowering the cost of living for families.
I got a pimple right here. It's not ready to pop yet on the side of my
It's about
face.
reducing bottlenecks in our economy, reducing long-term price pressures. It's about helping more people to work by helping ease the burden that parents bear, especially mothers, keeping them out of the job market. Both the Senate and the House have taken important steps forward to pass my bipartisan infrastructure. This bill is going to end years of gridlock.
I know they need to pay me some more money than that on this bonus. I know that. They got me fucked up. I am back up to 400,000 though.
Both literally and figuratively.
I had like only 400 million. I only had like 4 million earlier.
Figuratively as it relates to Washington.
I'm
We're
up
going
to
to create millions
400
of
million.
good-paying jobs. We're going to ease inflationary pressures. Allow us to win the competition of the 21st century in a global economy where competition has become more intense.
I only won 40 million on the bonus.
It's historic investment in roads, in rail, in transit, bridges, in clean energy, clean water, universal broadband. It's going to modernize our energy grid. You need not go any further and look what's happening across the country now in terms of the energy. It's about resilience. Make our roads and highways safer. Make us more resilient to the kinds of devastating impacts from extreme weather we're seeing in so many parts of the country. And look, this is about good paying jobs for ordinary people, blue collar workers, jobs at prevailing wage, not $15 an hour or 20 or 30, but for the carpenters and pipe fitters, plumbers, electrical workers, so many other Americans. About 90% of the jobs we create won't require a college degree, but will fundamentally transform the lives of millions of people. It's going to transform America and propel us into the future. Just as we did when we built the Transcontinental Railroad, when we electrified the country with TVA. Look, at the same time, the House and Senate have to advance my Build Back Better agenda. That bill contains critical investments in child care to make it easier for families to be able to go to work and assure their child is being taken care of. And home care for seniors, the polling data shows among your generation, all of you out here, your greatest concern is caring for your elderly parent, even more than your child. It's about paid leave, allowing people with a new child for a sick spouse at home to take care of them without risking losing their paycheck. Not indefinitely, but for a time period they can actually make a difference. Universal pre-K, community college, making us significantly better educated,
Community college.
increasing our competitive edge globally, around the world over time. And we'll combat climate change by building our clean energy future, creating experts
I don't know,
millions of jobs, including
that's
windmills
funny.
and solar panels all around the country, transferring that energy, transmitting parts that don't have that capacity. We're going to bring down the cost of prescription drugs by allowing Medicare to finally be able to negotiate drug prices. Look, there's so much more. Here's the thing you need to know. We're going to deliver these investments without raising taxes 1 cent on anyone making less than $400,000 a year. How are we going to do that? We're going to do it by leveling the playing field, by just having a fair system where we ask the largest.
He said don't tax 1 cent for anyone making less than $400,000 a year. Y'all missed that part.
Welfare still going to be about 3 homes. It's not going to affect anything. The fact of the matter is, though, it's about time they begin to pay their fair share. For example, you've heard me say it before, and I'll say it again. It's the best example to make clear to people a very complicated notion. 55 of the largest corporations in America last year paid zero in federal taxes. I don't care what your position. It just seems to me it's time they start to pay their fair share, like everybody else. Just pay a little bit here, and it brings up to billions of dollars if they pay. The irony of ironies is during the recession and the pandemic, you've heard me say this before, I apologize for repeating it, when the vast majority of Americans are struggling just to hang on, the number of billionaires in America actually grew. I want to hold here for just a second. You know, there have been so many records the stock market has hit under my presidency. Imagine if the other guy was here. We're doing great. It's wonderful. The stock market is surging. It's gone up higher than me than anybody. But that doesn't.
Yeah, the stock market is not doing too well.
That's for the economy. Look, the stock market has set 40 record highs just this year. They can afford to pay just a little bit more. And folks, right now, the House and Senate are working on my plan to generate a fair tax system and close loopholes.
People buying stocks like they're playing lotto.
To give you one example, there's a group of experts, left, right, and center, who estimate that right now we lose more than $100 billion a year in tax revenue from the top 1% of taxpayers. Not because of low tax rates, but because the wealthy people aren't paying the taxes they owe. They're going to change that. So as they pay taxes just like typical hard-working Americans do right now, they're going to use the money they collect from the tax cuts. They can give tax cuts to middle class people, to make it easier to raise kids, to take care of your aging parents, and so much more. What's going on in Congress? Not a single Republican supports this plan. They support the bipartisan plan, but not this one. Not one. And some big corporations are spending millions of dollars in legitimately lobbying to try to escape their obligation to pay the taxes they owe. Meaning working families to pay a larger share of the burden. Somebody's got to pay. And those who can afford to pay aren't paying even nearly their share. Need you all pay. You know, this has worked in the past. Significant lobbying. I don't think it's going to work for me. Those big corporations don't want things to change. It's time for working families. Folks with records have their taxes. Those corporate interests do everything they can to find allies in Congress to keep that from happening. Let me be
I keep dropping this damn phone, y'all. I guess it's just not meant for me to be looking at this phone.
Bottom up in the middle.
And the battery's actually full.
Corporations in the world.
That it don't need to be on the charger.
It's going to put millions of people, millions of people working jobs are going to help them punch their ticket to the middle class and stay in the middle class. And everyone will do better, including corporate America. Look, just think about it. Throughout our history, when the middle class has done well, when it prospers,
y'all getting info out of this that I'm not getting or something? Because I still am not impressed by
I
the
can't think
speech.
of one. Our country needs these investments. I'm not asking anything other than some fairness being injected into the system. Like I said, holy. The fact is that, the very wealthy women, they're still going to have 3 homes and 4 homes. It's not going to change what schools they can send their kids. It's not going to change their standard of living. Just pay their share. Corporate America is going to continue to do very well. I've seen no evidence to suggest it's going to cost jobs or cost, and now we need Congress to finish the job. Come through for the American people, ensure the economy continues to gain strength and stability as we move forward.
I do not like it, honey.
The third thing we need to do, all of us, is to stick together. We have to put ourselves on track to accomplish extraordinary things. A strong, inclusive, historic economic growth. Landmark investments to create a more good job to deliver breathing room for millions of families. A giant step forward in the fight against climate change, the crisis made more evident than ever by the death and destruction caused by extreme weather just these past few days. My agenda, I believe, is one that every American can understand and can get behind. Because of the work we've all put in, not just here in Washington, but communities across the country, every one of those goals is now within our reach. Coming together has always been part of the DNA of America. And if we can summon that instinct within us to unite, as one people, one nation, there's nothing beyond our capacity. So let's keep going. Let's stick together. Let's remember who we are. You've heard me say it time and again, we're the United States of America. And the rest of the world is looking at us. Just because we are the most prosperous nation in the world right now. We're growing. And there's a fairness to it. Fairness. We still have millionaires, we still have billionaires, we still have corporations doing incredibly well, CEOs who make a lot of money. Everybody has to start paying a fair share. Thank you very much. Pardon me?
One question on abortion rights in Texas. So what would be your message to women in Texas, and what can your administration do to protect abortion rights on federal level?
I'm late for going down. I'm going to talk about these things from Louisiana, but I have been, continue to be, a strong supporter of Roe v. Wade. Number one. And the most pernicious thing about the Texas law, it sort of creates a vigilante system where people get rewards to go out and it just seems, I know this sounds ridiculous, almost un-American what we're talking about. Not the debate about, I respect people who think that who don't support Roe v. Wade. I respect their views. I respect them, those who believe life begins in the moment of conception. I respect that. I don't agree, but I respect that. I'm not going to oppose that. But what I was told, and I must tell you, I am not certain. I was told that there are possibilities within the existing law to have the Justice Department look and see whether there are things that can be done that can limit the independent action of individuals in enforcing the federal system in a state law. I don't know enough to give you an answer. I've asked that to be checked. Thank you all very much.
The status of getting Americans out of Afghanistan. Mr. President, what about booster shots? What about confusion about booster shots, sir?
Alright, well, we didn't hear much good news off of that. It's only a couple more videos.
A lifeline for many during COVID-19, federal pandemic unemployment benefits
Y'all, please
will be
visit
cut off on
change.org and
Saturday for
vote.org to
millions
vote
of
and make a
Californians.
difference
But
in your
as
city
Lynn
and
Ramirez
state as
reports,
well.
that might not end the current worker shortage because a lot has changed since the pandemic started.
The benefits really help me.
Rosanna Madrigal has been looking hard for her next job ever since her management position with the U.S. Census Bureau ran out last year. In the meantime, she's been depending on the federally funded unemployment benefits enacted during the pandemic, which gave her $400 plus a week.
They gave me peace of mind. I didn't have to worry about that, and I could concentrate on looking for a job.
But she's already been notified her benefits will end on September 4th.
Roughly 2 million may see their benefits end.
Employment attorney and former head of the Employment Development Department, Michael Burnick, says California will join 26 other states which have ended the unemployment benefits.
As you might expect, there's a greater return to work, though it's not dramatic. A lot of jobs are out there, but it's not always a good, easy match.
Many of the people who lost jobs during the pandemic were in service industries like restaurants.
Since that money's running out, we might be able to get a few more employees from that.
But one restaurant owner says he doesn't expect a surge of new applicants.
And I think a lot of restaurant employees got shook out for the last 18 months and they found other careers.
I was very fortunate to have gotten interviews, but then just crickets.
Rosanna is still looking for management level work and thinks companies have paused on hiring because of the variant surge.
With the benefits ending, I'm going to have to look at what other options I have, including looking at retirement, early retirement.
She has a strong resume, working for 20 years in broadcasting, then PR and communications, and says she still has a lot to give.
I'm a PR person. Here I am. Come get me.
Len Ramirez, CBS 2 News.
Alright, that's not good either.
Hi, I'm John Lieber, and this is U.S. Politics in a little under 60 seconds. First question, what does the disappointing jobs number mean for the Democrats' agenda? Well, payroll employment in August came in well under expectations, with under 300,000 jobs created. This is in contrast to the last several months, which really saw a torrid pace of job creation as the U.S. started to recover from the pandemic and restrictions were lifted. With new mask mandates and the Delta variant spreading, Americans are slowing down their pace of activity, slowing down spending, which means you could see more economic volatility in the next couple of months. At the same time, Democrats are attempting to find consensus around a major new spending initiative, which would spend up to $3.5 trillion over the next 10 years. This initiative isn't really about coronavirus pandemic recovery or even stimulus. It's about expanding the size and scope of government for increased transfer payments and increased subsidies for education services and healthcare. And also, of course, on infrastructure. The slowing jobs growth creates more fiscal space for Democrats to borrow more, and that's a real sticking point because you have moderates like Senator Joe Manchin from West Virginia, who says the U.S. is already at their borrowing limit and shouldn't be borrowing more.
Welcome to our daily show where we discuss the fourth stimulus check update, what's going on in the United States, what's going on in Washington, D.C., money, investing, and the $3.5 trillion stimulus package, which will be the largest stimulus package ever, almost twice the size of the third stimulus check package, which was $1.9 trillion. If you're new to the channel, make sure to subscribe down below. It's completely free to do so you don't miss out on updates on the next stimulus package that they're working on right now, money, investing, the economy, and everything you need to know about. New videos, if you find these videos helpful, don't forget to hit the like button for us, and let's jump right in. Okay, first up, multiple different Republicans from both the House and the Senate have been calling for an impeachment of President Biden, or to use the 25th Amendment to possibly remove President Biden. And Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell was asked about possibly having President Biden impeached or having the 25th Amendment used against him to have him removed. Here was the interview or the question.
One of the first things that President Biden did was he cut the XL pipeline, and then 2 weeks ago he implored OPEC to drill into drill and do that. So there's a contradiction there. the border is wide open, the economy is not where it needs to be. This horrible pullout of Afghanistan has really created, as you said, a black mark on our country. The Taliban made them a commitment, the president committed that they will comply with their wishes, which we can't trust. Is this behavior impeachable? And if it is, will it be supported? And if that does happen, how confident are we or are you in the next level of leadership going forward?
Well, the remove from office of the Democratic House, early Democratic that's definitely going to happen. I think there's two things that could turn in a different direction. Number one, is the speed of it, and we're doing everything we can. But none of us are voting for it, but we're doing everything we can in opposition from the other two. In this country, the report card you get is every 2 years. And we're trying to hold down the damage until next year.
So Mitch McConnell responds with, there isn't going to be an impeachment of President Biden. He says President Biden is not going to be removed from office. And well, that's because the Democrats are in control of both the House of Representatives and the Senate. And remember, to be impeached, you have to be voted on in the House and the Senate. And remember, when the Democrats tried to impeach former President Donald Trump, the Democrats controlled the House and they were able to impeach him in the House, former President Donald Trump. They were able to impeach him in the House because they had control of the House, the Democrats did, but the Democrats did not have control of the Senate, and Republicans were not willing to impeach a Republican president, and thus he was not fully impeached. He was impeached in the House, but not the Senate, and thus he remained the president. So Mitch McConnell, being seeing exactly kind of what is happening here, is that the Democrats are in control of the House and the Senate, so there's almost no way to impeach President Biden at this particular moment, with the Democrats being in control of the House and the Senate at this moment. And he mentions there that basically there's a report card every 2 years, which is, so that would be a full 3.5 years from now. So President Biden is only about 6 months into his presidential. So that will be a full 3.5 years from now. But the next midterm for the House and the Senate will be in about a year from now, November of 2022. So that is when the House and the Senate will be up for re-elections. Now, in about a month from now, in October 1st, comes the start of the new fiscal year, and that is when the Democrats will actually get more reconciliation cards. That's the start of the new fiscal year, and they will actually get more cards, more processes, pass more packages with the reconciliation process. So starting on October 1st, they will actually be able to pass more stimulus packages or infrastructure packages, or maybe easier way to look at it is multi-packages with lots of things in them. So when we think about this $3.5 trillion stimulus package that they're working on right now, think of it as just a huge, huge package that has dozens or hundreds of things in this package. All of these items here, these are just the stimulus items that they're working on. Of course, there's other things in this package, such as climate change, green energy, little bit of infrastructure, not a lot of infrastructure, because a lot of the infrastructure is in the physical infrastructure package, that's $1.2 trillion, that has been passed in the Senate only and has bipartisan support. Mitch McConnell actually voted yes on that, and 19 Republicans voted yes on that in the Senate, okay? That's physical infrastructure, but there is other things in there. These are the stimulus provisions, basically things that are going to help the people, stimulus programs, stimulus type items here, okay? You can see all these different things are stimulus items being considered for this next package, okay? A fourth stimulus check is being considered. We have literally dozens of Democratic senators and Democratic House representatives that have said they are in support of a fourth stimulus check. In fact, here's what the Democrats have said. President Biden himself is open to a fourth stimulus check apparently. And if Congress wants to put a fourth stimulus check in this package, that they can. Remember that Congress writes the bills, although the president himself has a lot of sway over this. If the president says, put a stimulus check in there, they'd probably put a stimulus check in there. But largely, the House and Senate, that's where the votes themselves come from. 150 economists and 21 senators among support of recurring payments, monthly stimulus payments. Over 80 lawmakers now support further direct payments or fourth stimulus checks to Americans. We have this is just from the House of Representatives, over 80 different lawmakers, all Democrats, support further direct payments to Americans. So if there's all this support, they better include a fourth stimulus check when the time comes to it, okay? Now, they could put other means of payments in there through other ways, like adult tax credits that could just be a disguised name of a way to put money in people's pockets, because they could put money in people's pockets through other ways, not necessarily call it a fourth stimulus check. They could put money in people's pockets through other types of other types of programs. But there are other, lots and lots of different Democrats, meet the 28 lawmakers, who want to make stimulus checks recurring in Biden's infrastructure plan. Remember, there's the physical infrastructure plan, and then they call the stimulus package the $3.5 trillion stimulus package. It has several different names. They call it the stimulus package, they call it the American Families Plan, they call it the social infrastructure plan, the American Families Plan, the Human Infrastructure Plan. Senator Bernie Sanders is largely the one in charge of this plan. As you can see here, he's largely called the deal maker, the person in charge of this plan. It's largely called, even by the Democrats, they call it an anti-poverty plan. An anti-poverty plan, as you can see here. Senate Democrats agreed to a $3.5 trillion price tag on an anti-poverty plan. So, I mean, an anti-poverty package, an anti-poverty plan, I mean, if it's not going to include checks and help in an anti-poverty plan, I mean, what are they going to spend the money on? What are they going to spend the money on? We're going to find out here soon. We do know that there are several different proposals from the Democrats for monthly recurring checks that could be included in this package. At the bare minimum, we need to see at least single stimulus checks, or again, they could be disguised under names of other types of programs. But we do have several different bills that have been proposed by the Democrats. Detroit Representative Rashida Tlaib and also Pramila Jayapal, the leader of the Democratic Progressive Caucus, have introduced a bill for a one-time $2,000 stimulus check, followed by $1,000 monthly recurring payments that would go until 1 year after it is declared over. Again, this is an actual bill introduced into the House of Representatives by the Democrats. We have another one by Senator Ed Markey and Elizabeth Warren that is pushing President Joe Biden for $2,000 monthly stimulus checks. Again, this is what the Democrats are pushing for. I mean, Senator Ed Markey, Senator Elizabeth Warren, 21 different senators, over 80 different lawmakers, 28 lawmakers in the Senate, Senator Bernie Sanders. I mean, he's the one in charge of this package. So these are the Democrats saying this. And remember, the Democrats are passing this package on their own without a single Republican vote. Remember, not a single Republican voted for the third stimulus check package, and not a single Republican is going to vote for this next stimulus check package. We've seen that in the preliminary votes, the motions to proceed. So not a single Republican voted yes on the motions to proceed, and all the Democrats voted yes on the motions to proceed as well. But remember, the motions to proceed are not the motions that pass the bill. They're just the motions to open up the reconciliation process. But these are what the Democrats are saying. So we're going to find out what they're going to actually put in the bill. Now, remember, these are all the different items in here They could put money in people's pockets through different ways, whether they call it a, quote, fourth stimulus check, or they do it through other ways, such as internet assistance, debt forgiveness, fourth stimulus check, monthly checks, Social Security raises, Medicare expansion, which is expected to be in there to include hearing coverage, dental coverage, denture coverage, vision coverage, hearing aid coverage, and possibly lower than Medicare eligibility age to age 60. Also, they are trying to extend the monthly checks to children called the child tax credits. Now remember, those monthly checks are going to end at the end of this year. $250 to $300 monthly checks called the child tax credits. Those were passed in the third stimulus check. Those monthly checks end, they were passed in the third stimulus check package. Those end at the end of this year for 65 million people. They want to extend those monthly checks in this next stimulus package, possibly or probably until 2025. But again, they have to pass the package, they have to do it, they have to get all the votes in the Senate, all 50 Democrats have to agree, and 99% of the Democrats in the House have to agree, okay? That could be one form of monthly checks, but those checks would be only for children or families with children, about 65 million children or 65 million families with children. However, there is also a proposed adult tax credit in this next package, which would probably be or possibly be for adults making $50,000 or less. It's also called the adult tax credit, the earned income tax credit, but it could possibly be for anybody making less than $50,000. Remember, the child tax credit in this last package, they made a key change that you didn't even need any earned income at all. So, for example, you could be somebody on Social Security who doesn't even have earned income. You could be a stay-at-home mom who doesn't even have any earned income at all, and you now get the child tax credits. Previous years, you needed to have earned income to get the child tax credits. They could do that as well for the adult tax credits, okay? But there's a lot of different things on this list that could put money in people's pockets in different ways. Utility assistance, mortgage assistance, $25,000 home buyer credits, internet assistance, debt forgiveness, paid family and medical leave, adult tax credits, unemployment credits, lower taxes for people making under $400,000. And they're going to be paying for all these by raising taxes on people making over $400,000 and raising taxes on corporations. This bill, the $3.5 trillion from this package, and the $1.2 trillion physical infrastructure package is different than all three of the previous stimulus check packages. The first two stimulus check packages passed by former President Donald Trump, stimulus check number 1, stimulus check number 2, and stimulus check number 3, passed by President Biden. All three of those, there were no tax raises, and basically nobody paid for them at all, okay? I say this, people always get a little bit confused when I say this. Say, didn't the taxpayer pay for them? Not really, not really. Here's why, because the government already runs a deficit every single year, okay? And what I mean by that is the government spends more money than they take in tax dollars. So every year, pretty much every single year, there was 1 year that former President Bill Clinton said that we balanced the budget, we actually have a surplus, we're actually gonna take in more money than we make. But when all was said and done, the Congressional Budget Office says, well, you made a good try, but we actually had a little bit of a deficit. But it was actually pretty good because pretty much almost balanced the budget, okay? For the most part, 99% of years, the government spends more money than they make. They run a deficit. Government just does not take in enough tax money as they spend. So for the most part, every year the government spends way more money than they take in. Okay, that's without all these stimulus packages. Okay, former President Donald Trump actually spent $8 trillion. He added $8 trillion onto the deficit. Here's a headline. If you don't believe me, I'm not picking sides or anything like that. I'm just kind of showing this for proof here. I like to show proof on my headlines and stuff just so people believe it. It's not that I'm picking sides or anything, but if you think about this, the first stimulus check package passed by former President Donald Trump was $2.3 trillion. And that just went to the national deficit because they didn't raise taxes or anything. It just went to the national deficit. The second stimulus check package was almost $1 trillion as well. So between the first two stimulus check packages passed by former President Donald Trump, that was like $3.3 trillion. That alone is almost half of this $8 trillion that he added to the national debt in his 4 years. So just two stimulus packages alone was almost half of the $8 trillion. Honestly, Biden's going to spend more than that. I'm not a Democrat, I'm not a Republican, so I'm just telling you guys the truth about both parties. Trump spent over $8 trillion that he added onto the national deficit. Biden's probably going to spend more. He's probably going to spend more, let's be realistic. But, because Biden spent that third stimulus check package, $1.9 trillion, let's just say $2 trillion for round numbers, that went right onto the national deficit as well. Very similar to former President Donald Trump's first stimulus check package, which was $2.3 trillion. Both those packages went right onto the national deficit. But it is what it is. So you got to help people out. You got to help the economy out. If you don't do that, we'd be in 1929. The economy would collapse, Wall Street would collapse, pensions would collapse, 401ks would collapse, and it would be way worse than what we had. Okay, we wouldn't be even like the economy would have collapsed. Like run on the banks, everything, right? Just like you don't even want to know what it would have been like, right? Imagine no stimulus checks, no unemployment bonus, just like 37% of all small businesses went out of business. Imagine if there was no paycheck protection programs, no stimulus, no unemployment bonus. Imagine if there was nothing. Imagine if there was nothing. We would, instead of 37% of small businesses go out of business, we would have probably had like 77% of small businesses went out of business. It would have been like 1929 all over again. All over again. Like, it would have been terrible, guys. Really, really bad. Okay? The modern day stimulus packages have literally like saved our economy. Saved our economy, no doubt. And that's why both Republicans and Democrats passed it. Remember that last year when these started, Republicans had control of the Senate and the presidency, 2 out of 3. Okay? So Republicans are just against it now, honestly, because the Democrats control the House, the Senate, the presidency. So it's just the age-old battle of, you know, if Democrats hate Republicans, Republicans hate Democrats, which that's honestly really what it is. Remember, Republicans passed the second stimulus check package in December, a month before Biden came to office. So they were for stimulus 1 month before Biden came in. Biden came in, now they're not for stimulus. So it's really, they're just against Democrats, to be honest. But these next 2 stimulus packages, or I should say the $3.5 trillion stimulus package and the infrastructure package, are different than the last 3 stimulus check packages, because all 3 of those, the 2 from former President Trump and the 3rd stimulus check package, all those went onto the national deficit. But this $3.5 trillion stimulus package and the infrastructure package are both going to be paid for, at least in the majority. They're going to be probably somewhere between 80 and 90% paid for, because they're going to raise taxes on the rich, they're going to raise taxes on corporations, they're paying for it with leftover stimulus money. Remember that? That's paying for a large portion of the physical infrastructure package. There's like almost $2 trillion of leftover stimulus money. Remember that? They're using leftover unemployment money. They're using that. They're using money from pharmaceuticals. Remember, they're going to force pharmaceutical companies to lower their prescription prices. They're going to be using all sorts of creative different ways to pay for these packages. So the $3.5 trillion is not going to go on to the national deficit. Maybe a little bit will. And the $1.2 trillion infrastructure package is not going to go on to the national deficit either. If it was, the Republicans wouldn't vote for it. Okay, they would have passed it through reconciliation if they didn't. But that's why Mitch McConnell voted for it. He wouldn't have voted for it. Just being real here. That's the only reason they voted for it, because it's being paid for, like almost being paid for, 90-some%. Okay, but that's why both these two packages are very different. That's why they're raising taxes on corporations, they're raising taxes on the wealthy, they're using leftover stimulus money to pay for these packages. But at the end of the day, they need to make sure that they help out people as much as possible with stimulus checks or whatever they're going to call them. If they're going to call them some other type of name, child tax credits, we all know what child tax credits are, adult tax credits, put money in people's pockets, help out people with as much stimulus programs as possible. Rent assistance, internet assistance, utility assistance, Medicare benefits. Those Medicare benefits are actually going to greatly help seniors because their benefits are going to go on forever. Forever. A lot of seniors do not have these benefits, and they're going to be benefits that go on literally for the rest of your life. So, for example, if you're 65 right now and you get these benefits until the rest of your life, if you live to your 100, you're going to get these benefits for 35 more years, every single year, every single year. These are going to be benefits you get year after year after year. Hearing, vision, dental, hearing aids, dentures. And they're going to lower the Medicare eligibility age to age 60. You know, also the free college. I know not everybody's going to take advantage of this, but that is going to help out millions and millions of people in our country. There's going to be a lot of different things in this package like that, like those two different things, all those things on that list that are going to help out tens of millions of people in our country. So let's hope that they get on their horse, they pass this, and let's hope that it is everything that it could be, $3.5 trillion, and it helps out as many of our viewers here, our extended family. So let me know your thoughts. I will keep you up to date with all the developments. It's completely free to do so. Click the bell icon after subscribing to get notifications, reminder notifications when we go live with new videos. You can click this top video here to watch my newest stimulus check video next. And this video is new data that has come out about how Social Security could be in trouble. So click on one of those videos next. Thanks, guys, and I'll see you in the next video.
Good evening and welcome to Tucker Carlson tonight. Well, Washington's mass delusion tour continues. It's amazing to watch. Just hours ago, in the latest installment, the Secretary of Defense and the Chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff held a press conference at the Pentagon. And they told us what they've been telling us all week, from the White House, the State Department, and everybody in charge. They're telling us that our departure from Afghanistan, the one that looks like a disaster to you, has in fact, and this is directly from Lloyd Austin, the Secretary of Defense, been a resounding success.
Yeah. They didn't tell us no good news, just so you know. Thank y'all for being here and making me a top streamer. Thank y'all for my money. I see some on the screen. Thank y'all. 4,264 diamonds. 75,095 diamonds.